All right, what's going on, Fafo Nation? I am your host, Andrew Herman, and this is the Fafo Podcast Show. I've found out some things here recently, and I find them very amusing. I just want to share them with you because they are funny. I remember growing up, and there was an idea called hunting cougars, where you would go out and you would find an attractive older woman, and that is what you would call hunting cougars. I just found out what this generation calls it. It is called hag maxing. God, that is hilarious. Why would we call it hag maxing? One, if they're attractive, they're not hags. Two, why would you call it that? That is awful. It is funny. I will give you that. It is funny. However, still awful, still terrible, but hilarious. Oh my God. That is great. Personally, I don't care what you call it. I mean, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. Go do that. Have fun. Do you, boo boo. However, hag maxing, really? That's what you're calling it. You guys in this younger generation have no couth whatsoever. Oh my gosh. I get it. I get it. You want your own thing. You want to call it whatever. Cool, neato. Hag maxing? Is that really the best you can do? I mean, don't get me wrong. Entertaining, funny. Still terrible. And this is coming from somebody who's got a very dark sense of humor. I have a dark sense of humor. I was in the military for a long time. Saw some things. Did some terrible work. Living in tight quarters with lots of other service members, just dudes that have to be there because they have to be there. I have a dark sense of humor. I do. However, when I talk to my friends and they're saying something like hag maxing, if they ever called it that, I would have been, offended for those poor women. I would have been offended. I laughed. However, still, that's terrible. What's wrong with you? Good gravy. All right. So that aside, it was entertaining. I had to talk about it. The reason I had to talk about it was because I find it so funny. Because some of the stuff that this younger generation calls things, man, aura farming. That one, I kind of like that one when you're trying to hit your glow up and be better. Like I kind of like that one. That one's all right. The 6'7" thing. Every time that one of my kids says 6'7" and is doing their little crazy, 6'7", whatever. That's fine. But I'm going to go to the 6'7" that I know, which is from Austin Powers. When they're talking in English, and they're having a conversation, and they said, the one that's all sixes and sevens, the one that's crazy. So that's what I always think of, because that's I'm old, I guess, but that was funny. And what the kids do now, they like. I don't even think that most of the kids actually even know what it means. I looked it up just for this. It came from a song talking about a murder. The guy's from Chicago, I believe, and he is saying it in the song, and all these kids are now repeating it, and I don't really even think that they know what that means. But I mean, it's okay. So, with that being said, pardon me. If you don't know what something means, you probably shouldn't say that. Just out of sheer, logic. If you don't know what something means, you probably shouldn't say it. And it brings me back to like the Princess Bride, inconceivable. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. So that's what I think of anytime that I hear these kids saying stuff that just is drivel, for the lack of a better word. It's drivel. There's, I mean, I'm sure my parents had some of the same thoughts on the things that we said growing up. Riz, I actually kind of dig that one as well, because it's charisma. That's where Riz comes from. Riz is from charisma. So that one I get. That one makes sense. The weird ones like 6-7 and some of the stuff that is just nonsensical. I don't even think the kids even know where what it means or where it comes from. I asked my kids if they knew what Riz was, and they all tried to say it was something very different than what it was. This was a conversation from a couple months back, so I don't actually remember exactly what they were saying, but it didn't line up. And I told them it was from the word charisma. And they were like, oh, okay. I guess that one kind of makes sense. I was like, okay, yeah, that's where it came from. Some of the other, language stuff that comes up, while entertaining to them, most of them don't actually know what it means, so it's harder to justify their reasoning for using it, other than the fact that everybody in their friend groups use it. So that's fine. To try to make that a part of your personality trait, that's kind of an issue. But still, hag maxing, that is awful. I mean, it's funny, but it's awful. I don't know if I'm going to be able to even post this because I'm laughing too much at it. It's funny, but good Lord. I'm at a loss for some of it. There are times where my kids will be talking to me and we'll be having a conversation and they'll say something and be like, I don't know what that is. I don't know. You're going to have to explain that one, or justify why you're using it in the way you did. And most of them can, but the 6-7 thing, none of them can really tell me what that is. I had to look it up. I had to figure out where that came from, and yeah, it's a can't say it's a mind virus because that's not really the way that it comes off as something that is just absolute, I don't even know how I'm trying to explain that. It is dribble. There's no nice way to say it. It's dribble. So if you don't know what something means, don't say it. Come on, kids. You know. If you don't know what it means, don't say it. There is some of the stuff that like it is entertaining, but for the most part, it's kind of redonkulous. Outside of that, I wanted to talk about the government shutdown and how that is affecting people. if you're going to the store in the next, month or so before the government shutdown is lifted, uh, protect yourself, be smart, don't go places. If you have the ability to be armed, protect yourself, because these people are planning on stealing your paid for basket of food because they're not getting money. So protect yourself, be smart. If you don't feel like that you can safely make it to your vehicle, get somebody that works there. Have them walk you out. That's the best thing I can really tell you. The amount of people I've seen online recently talking about how they're going to be doing this kind of nonsense, it's actually pretty spectacular, because they're confessing to a crime before they actually even do it. So that's premeditation. So it's a problem that you're going to be dealing with, especially if you're in larger cities or bigger areas. That is going to be an issue you're going to see. I feel like that all of the nonsense that's coming along with the government shutdown, where Democrats are blaming the Republicans about keeping the government shut down. Why is it that the Democrats are the ones that are voting no to open up the government? That is a solid question. And why is it that they are blaming the Republicans for not opening the government when they're the ones voting no? I don't understand. However, I see that they're all just trying to score political points. And it's all over insurance and how that it's going to affect the votes in the next election. Because if we don't give insurance to illegal immigrants, they're which is what they want, the Democrats. They want that provision in there. They're trying to extend the Affordable Care Act provisions that Biden had put in for the illegal immigrants. Good gravy! I can't talk today. That is, it's brazen, man. That's ballsy, stupid, but ballsy. If you agree with that kind of logic, I don't see how that is a real logical thought. I just don't. Some other things going on with the government shutdown. Some service members that I actually do know, they did not get paid. How they didn't get paid, I'm not 100% on that, because that I was under the impression they were going to be getting paid. VA, some of that got paid out, which is good. I don't know if everything did, but I do know that some of that is getting paid out. Flights being canceled because the government agency that pays for some of the aircraft controllers, they didn't get paid, or some of them are showing up and they're still not getting paid. So that's awful. I salute you guys for going to work, just because it's the right thing to do, even though you're not getting paid. I know in the military, if they fail to pay you 3 months in a row, your contract is null and void, and you're out. You can walk away. I don't know if that's happening. I do know that some of my friends, they did not get paid. Outside of that, I can't speak to the whole military, because I haven't talked to that many people. I've only talked to like 3 or 4, and 2 of them I know for a fact have not gotten paid. Outside of that, I haven't talked to my brother either. I should have talked to my older brother and see if he got paid. I didn't do that. Should have done it. didn't think about it until just now. The talks about having a war with Venezuela. That comical. That is pretty comical. I don't know the thought process of the president. I really don't. I've heard rumors that that is going to be a thing. I don't know that that's a fact, but I do hear whispers of it, and some of the media has picked up on some of that. How true it is, I don't know. I do know that Maduro is having a real issue with the government right now, or the U.S. government. Outside of that, I haven't really looked into it too in depth. I do know that as of today, which is the first Monday of November, the tariffs have taken effect with China. I don't know if that's going to play into, our economic issues that are going on with the government shutdown. It might. I don't know for sure. I could see that. I could see it being an issue, but I don't see it right at this moment. I can look into that a little more, which I intended on doing this evening, preparing for tomorrow. Tomorrow's recording. I'm still on that hag maxing thing. It's funny to me. That's awful. What's wrong with you kids? I mean, it's funny, but it's awful. All right. I'll be serious. I'll be serious. I can do it. I can do this. Oh, I can't. Not yet. Here, God. All right. I'm better. I'm better. Woo. Okay. So let's talk about Snap. What's going on with that? I do know the this has been an issue for a while. We have significantly more I don't know if they're necessarily illegal immigrants or just immigrants in general. They're the ones that are generally on SNAP and EBT and whatnot. So I think it's like 8.6% of all of the EBT and SNAP is, you know, I think it's white American, but I'm not 100% on it. I have to double check the exact wording on it. But it's actually a fairly low number. And that was something that I was actually kind of surprised by. Because I thought there was way more of the white population that was on SNAP than what I just read. So that's kind of something that I will be investigating further in depth about this government shutdown. What I wanted to talk about with all the SNAP and EBT stuff is I was watching. Oh, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Nux Taku. Pardon me. And he was talking about. Actually, I don't think it was him. I think he was showing clips from like TikTok or something where there's all these people on TikTok talking about the taxpayers owe me these SNAP benefits. I can't work because I can't function in society, and you can picture what these people look like. If you have this image in your mind of a blue-haired human being that is so distraught that they aren't getting SNAP benefits and EBT, you would probably be right. So that, and I don't understand how, yeah, you have social anxiety. Cool. My son has social anxiety and he has a job and he goes to work and he does all the things. So why are you? Sure, I get it. Things affect people differently. I have PTSD. I have a TBI. I'm dyslexic. I have ADHD. Cool. Yeah, I have problems. Still, I go out and I work. I don't have a regular 9 to 5 job. I'm a firearms instructor, so I do my own thing. I don't like having a boss, so I work here. I work on a computer a lot, and that's mostly for this. This is kind of the most regular, I guess, job that I have. Am I making money off this? No, I'm not. But I enjoy doing this. I make money from doing firearms instructing, uh, my VA disability. That's pretty much it. That and going out and bucking hay for people or doing farm work for people. I don't really have to have a job, which is nice. I have a nice house. It's a little small for my large family, but it is my home. I don't have the nicest things in the world, but I do have nice things. I have 2 dogs. I have 2 cats. Well, they're my kids' cats. I have one dog that is mine, one dog that is my stepdaughter's, one cat that is my daughter's, and one cat that is my other stepdaughter's. It's okay because I have the ability to take care of those things. We had horses, had to sell them, not because that I didn't like them, it was just because I didn't have time for them. I have too many kids. I can't dedicate time to the horses that they needed, so I sold them because they deserve better. And that's fine. The whole the taxpayers owe me thing, that bothered me. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody. Not a single person owes you a thing. And honestly, most people don't really give a shit about your opinions or your feelings. And that's fine. And honestly, I think the part of that is that your parents didn't tell you, you just don't have good ideas. And that's fine. That's okay. It's all right. I mean, obviously, there is a nice way to say those things. However, I'm just being blunt. My parents told me all the time, yeah, that's probably not a great idea. That's not a good idea. And I listened because, my parents are smarter than I am. That's fine. I listened. When I joined the military, my mom was not thrilled. My dad was really not thrilled. My older brother had joined the military about a year and a half before I did. Actually, this next September, September of 26, I'd be retiring if I'd have stayed in. That's just that easy. I will be 43 in April. I would have been retiring at 43 if I'd have stayed in. But I didn't. That was my choice. Granted, my ex-wife had a lot to do with that. I was getting ready to go to a. So, what happened? Why I left? my chief told me that my next push was going to be dependent restricted, which means I would be gone for a whole year without my family. My family couldn't go. I was going to go to either Ciudad Bay, Greece, which is where I wanted to go, Diego Garcia, which I did not want to go to. It's a tiny little island, and there's nothing really to do there. Or Guantanamo Bay. I didn't really want to go to Gitmo either. That was not something that I would have enjoyed. So I was shooting for Ciudad Bay, Greece. Talked to my chief, told him, kind of what I wanted, and he said, all right. I went home, talked to my ex-wife. She was my wife at the time. And we just got custody of my 2 older kids. And that is 5 children that she had been left with for a whole year. And she said, we just got custody of your older kids, and you're going to leave me alone for a year with 5 kids. I'm like, yeah. She said, I think you're getting out. So I got out. I mean, that makes sense, because leaving her alone for a whole year with 5 kids, probably not all right. So I got out. And it made sense to me at the time. Do I regret getting out? A little bit. Not because of, the fact that I'm spending time with my kids and whatnot. I have no problem with. I love that. I regret it because I would be retiring next year. I mean, this is November 3rd? November 3rd. And I'd be retiring September 28th. It's not a bad deal. But I didn't really, think that far ahead. I was thinking more about immediately what was going to impact my family, and that made the most sense at the time. So that's what I did. When I got out, I was happy to be out and spending time with my family. I had to change a lot of things about myself. I had to deal with PTSD that was undiagnosed until I was already through the process of going through the VA. I'd been, I think I got my VA rating in 19. It was either 18 or 19. I can't remember exactly. I got out in 17. Oh, so it was 18 because I'd been out for like a year. I was still having issues with my own anger. My kids were afraid of me, and that's what bothered me. Was when my youngest son, he asked me if I was going to yell, and I said, no, I'm not going to yell. And he said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to yell. And that was kind of like my wake up call for that. So I went and was doing my annual checkup or whatever it is. And there was a pamphlet. And my ex-wife handed it to me, and I started reading it, and I was like, I think I have PTSD. She's like, you think? I'm like, okay. I guess that you've known for a while, and I'm just putting it together. Cool. Talked to the doctor. They were like, yeah, you have PTSD. And they sent me out. I got therapy, and I did that for 3 years. And it took a while for me to really get a good handle on it. Actually, I think I went for 6 months. Something happened, and I wasn't able to go for a while, and then I had to start up again, and it was 3 months from that time. So it's like 3.5 years worth of therapy. And my kids now are like, you're a way different person. You don't get mad. My kids have actively tried to piss me off. And that is not something that they've really seen from me in a while. Yes, I still get mad, and yes, I still yell. But I'm a human being, so I stumble. No big deal. But it's not like before. It's not like uh, little things bother me. Little things don't bother me as much as they used to. There are certain things that'll piss me off pretty quick. Somebody mistreating my kids, that is definitely, and that'll piss me off pretty quick. Now it's a lot different at the things I get mad about. I get mad about things that actually make sense. It's not because somebody's breathing too loud. I get a laugh at this stuff now because I look back and I'm like, that was retarded. I don't know why I was mad about that, but that's neither here nor there. I got help. So when I see the stuff on the internet that you owe us this, nobody owes you anything. Nobody cares. If you are able to work, you should work. If you are an able-bodied human being, you should be working. You should be trying to provide for yourself and your family if that's something you have. And I get it that your anxiety is a problem. Go get help. That's the best thing I could tell you. Go get help. There's medications out there. There's therapy programs. There's a wide variety of things that you can go do to help yourself. If you're lazy, just say that. Just say you're lazy. It's okay. Fuck, I'm lazy. I don't like to get out of bed. I got out of the military and found I love sleep. But I had shift worker syndrome and I didn't sleep a lot. Matter of fact, last night, I think that I slept 2.5, 3 hours max. But I don't always do that. My body will keep me awake. I don't know why. It just happens. So I got in bed at 8:30, 9 o'clock. I tried to go to sleep. I started to doze off. My wife was struggling to sleep as well, so she turned on the TV and started watching a show. And then I was wide awake. Couldn't go back to sleep. She got tired and started snoring right next to me, so I turned TV off. And she was out. And I just laid there. But hey, guess what? I got up. It was probably more like 3.5, 4 hours. Because it was before that she took the kids to school. And I got up at like 8:30. And the kids go to school at like 7. I'm sorry. 6:30 is when she leaves here to take them to the bus. And the other kids stay here and then they get taken to school at 7:30. So going back to sleeping, I didn't sleep very much. I got up at like 8:30. Started doing the stuff I needed to do to wake up because I am not a morning person. I have a very special T-shirt that says I don't like morning people or mornings or people, and all of those things are kind of true. Especially anything before like noon. I'm not a morning person. I don't like being up in the morning. When I was an armor in the Navy, and I had to be the first person. I was doing law enforcement, and I was an armorer. So about an hour and a half before everybody else got there to get armed up and start their workday, I'd already been there for an hour and a half. And most people who were on the other shift that had to deal with me knew, don't talk to Hermit before you had coffee. Don't do that. He's not. He's an ass. I'm not a morning person. I do not like being up in the morning. That's why I hated days so much. If I could work graves all the time, that's what I did. I did that. So yeah, I'm not a morning person. I don't function well in the mornings. So graves, that was my sweet spot. Swings, I didn't care for swings, and it wasn't like a political thing. I just didn't like being at work while the sun was up. I don't know. I didn't like dealing with that. But then when we went to Port and Starboard, where you're working 12-hour days, we were on something called the Panama schedule. Is 3223, 3 days on, 2 days off, 2 days on, 3 days off. Every other weekend was a 3-day weekend. That was amazing. But they're 12-hour days. So from 6 to 6, that was my jam. That's what I loved. I had better cognitive abilities later, and that's fine. That's how I functioned the best. But when we were doing days, swings, and graves, I hated anything when the sun was up, and that's fine. I didn't care for it. Pardon me. Once I figured out like how I could function the best, that was, you know, really the way I managed to make it through my schedule. But if I had issues, I usually would go after them head on. I don't like beating around the bush. It was a lot easier for me to go deal with something and come back and get focused. So going to therapy helped me get focused on my life with my family. And if you are having problems like anxiety or whatever ailment that you're claiming that you have to, that the taxpayers owe you SNAP benefits or EBT, you're out of your mind. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you. That is the best way I can say it. Nobody owes you anything. That is the most honest thing I can tell you. No, nobody owes you anything. If you want something, go out and work for it. If you want something, go out and get it. If you choose to be a turd and float through life and be a drain on society, fine. However, you're not going to have a very fulfilling life. You will probably be a victim until you die. I don't know how else to say it. The victim mentality thing, I severely do not understand any of that. I don't. Yeah, I've had rough things in my life. I just recently lost my father and my grandfather in 5 months. In 5 months. February 1st of 2009, I lost my 3-year-old son. Nobody owed me anything. I could have went the way other way. I could have been a victim. I could have done that whole jazz. Nobody owed me anything, though. And I wasn't a victim. I'm just not. Something terrible happened. Yeah, that sucked. I I can't say I'm over it because I'm never going to be over it. Any father that buries a child, that's awful. There's nothing you can do to change it. Matter of fact, Brett just had his 21st or 20th birthday, and that was hard. It was hard for me. Cried that day pretty significantly, and it's hard. It's hard to be without that little boy in my life. But I'm grateful that I had the time I did with him. Those 3 years were awesome. Loved that kid. He made life an adventure, for sure. It's part of the reason that I went to therapy was because I knew I was not being a father that was engaged in his kids' lives. Now, I try to be engaged in my kids' lives as much as possible. I fail at it, but I mean, I try, and I am trying, and I will always try. But I am proud of my kids, and I'm proud of who they are becoming. They're honest. They are hardworking. My youngest son, Emmett, I tell him that he's a little addicted to that video game more than he should be, and that happens. I don't let him just run all over me. I make sure that they do their chores. I make sure they take care of their responsibilities. I make sure their homework is done. I track their grades on my phone. Every Thursday, I have a conversation with them. Every Thursday. Because that's when the grades are. Before their weekend. Because they go Monday through Thursday. At the end of the week, I check the grades. Are they all, straight A students? No. My Emmett, for example, he's dyslexic. Schoolwork's hard for him in some areas, and that's okay. As long as he's working at it, I'm happy with what he's good with. I do not accept grades under a C with him. I just don't. Because I know he's smarter than that. And he knows he's smarter than that. And we've talked about it. And he's like, yeah, I know, Dad. I just need to turn it in. I have it. It's done. I just didn't turn it in. I'm like, turn it in. It's that easy. Matter of fact, I think my last grade check, I was furious and then found out that it was not his fault. It was the teacher's fault. One of the other things is that their Spanish grades are not some of their. How do I explain this? I have 3 kids in Spanish, and their grades are all awful. Found out that the teacher was just fired for inappropriate things with a minor. I don't know how that is a thing, but it was. So, I mean, whatever. Those grades will get taken care of eventually when they have a permanent teacher. I guess I don't know. I just know that it's not their fault. It's the fact that this teacher was needing to be fed to a wood chipper. That's my personal opinion on it. But you're not a victim. You did it to yourself. Nobody owes you anything. The world doesn't owe you anything at all. Best thing I can say is go out there, work hard, train hard, be dangerous. And when I say dangerous, I don't mean violent. I just mean be dangerous. Be capable of violence if you need to. That's something that's kind of hitting me pretty good there. If you need to be violent, be dangerous. Be capable of violence. That just triggered a thought. Can't remember who said it. You're not a good and moral person if you don't rob a bank because you don't have the ability to do it. You're a good and moral person if you have the ability and capability to do it, but choose not to. That is being moral. And with my moral thought of the day, I will go ahead and say, you cannot drink all day unless you start in the morning. Cheers, folks.